we go with the second presentation. The second presentation is very close to my heart because it's also a projection, a part of my research. You know that domesticity was a part of my research paper. So, and I think domesticity is very important because, as I have always told you, house is the smallest unit of a society. So, whatever you see in the society, it actually gets presented in this house, which is a sort of a micro representation, of the broader society. On the other hand, it is also very ambivalent space, because though it's an extension of the society, it is also the unit which is supposed to be womb-like. This is your first world, right? This is going to be your safest space. But what happens? What happens usually when you are completely upset? What do? You go to your home. At least psychologically you want to go back to your home. You're not feeling well, you remember home. But what happens when this home becomes a space of conflict and constant trauma? When this space becomes the most important, significant space from where different layers of domestic abuses are generated. Have you ever thought whether a trans can dwell? কখনো ভেবেছো ট্রান্সদের ঘর কিরকম হয়, ট্রান্সদের ডোমেস্টিক এক্সপিরিয়েন্স কিরকম হয়, ট্রান্সরা কি ঘর বাঁধতে পারে, ট্রান্সরা কি ঘরে জীবন যাপন করতে পারে, ট্রান্সরা কেমন থাকে তাদের ঘরে? You all have seen them, right? Sometimes you have also tried to shut your window when you have tried to identify them. তাড়াতাড়ি বন্ধ কর, তাড়াতাড়ি 10 টাকা দিয়ে দে. So, but what are their domestic realities? Let's find out with NC's mentorship. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are talking about a topic that many people are very scared, or even they're scared that someone is going to judge. We have read text by Revathi. It's in our syllabus. We have read it as a textbook. We have 4 chapters in it. We know that. We are all going to read it for the sake of marks. We know, but I'm very happy to get this topic, especially our topic reads as Reading the Truth About Me, a Hijra life story by Revathi from a domestic point of view. I want to put that the key word in the topic is the domestic point of view, and I'm a girl, so I don't know about, like, there are boys who stay home, who like staying at home, and I know what domestic setting is. And let me really try to project the domestic point of view on this text, and let me try to just feel, or we cannot empathize, we cannot sympathize, we cannot feel really what they are feeling in their home, but let me just try, and let's dive into the presentation. Slide 2, please. So this is the protagonist of our text of the book, Revathi. She identifies herself as a writer and activist, a trans activist, and in the book that we are having, he rather, like, I can't really say he, okay, because in our text it's always the parts are given when he is a boy, he is young in age, but he or they rather identify themselves as a writer or a trans activist and a hijra. So hijra is a term everybody, it's like a bit, you're giving a gali, come on, why? No, it's not a gali, it's a term, it's like brother, sister.
An identity.
It's an identity, thank you. It's an identity, it's not a gali, it's not. And I really hate the people, those who like take it as a gali, and anyways,
and they think it's possible, ওরা ভাবে এটা করা যায়,
yeah,
কাউকে হিজড়া বলে গালি দেওয়া যায়,
yeah, it's not a slang, guys, and it's a very good step for her actually, because she is writing in her book a Hijra life story. She is not ashamed of the identity Hijra. Them work for LGBTQ rights in India. She's an Indian, a Tamil, and no, it's a sense, and is a member of Hijra community. Next slide. Next slide we have domestic viewpoint. I really want to explain what is domestic viewpoint because people have googled Revathi, what is trans. But we really have to know what is a domestic viewpoint. I have written few words basically. It's parents, our mother, father, or anyone who is a parent figure to us. It's our siblings, brothers, sisters. Also, I have included domestic values because domestic viewpoint doesn't only contain the parents or human figures, it is also an ideology present in every one of them. Next slide. Now we are officially starting a critical reading of the text. Let's start in chapter 1. In chapter 1, we see parental love. He is a boy of 15-16 of age. It's a new teen. For a new teen, they're in constant struggle. They are also their bodies growing and all. There's a big glimpse before teen actually that he's getting a quite parental love like any other child, any other children. They sleep and we wake them up. Wake, you have to eat. But this love is fading away. It's very unfortunate. Our society is placed like this. This love is fading away. Another thing that we see in the second point is love doing a household work usually done by the female members of the household or the house. I quote in the text. In chapter 1, there's a line. I love to sweep the frontier clean and draw the kolam every morning. Kolam is like a alpona in Tamil culture. I even help my mother in the kitchen and sweeping and scrubbing, washing dishes. My work was certainly not tidy, not like a grown-up woman. So he knows that he is not a woman. He cannot do the work as properly as a woman, okay? But he is trying. Rather, her sister is not good. I'm not being anti-feministic or not, but his son is like a woman. He wants to do like a woman. Next, after coming from school, he says that I would wear my sister's long skirt and blouse, twist a long towel around my head and let it trail down my back like a veil. He's again trying to be the woman, and people used to laugh at it, बच्चा है, हो जाएगा, ठीक हो जाएगा. This is the word we use, right? ठीक हो जाएगा, वो ठीक रहेगा. No one thought much of it then, but I was little. He was little. It's like an allergy, it will go away. I'm not saying that it's depicted like that, okay?
But it's not like that. It's like it's true. You have a problem, let's cover it up for the moment. Let's not deal with it.
It will go with time.
Yes.
Next, we have an instance. There is a college student who has rented a house opposite to their house, and he used to spend time there. And that interaction makes him shy. Not expected from a boy to be shy, okay, in surrounding of other males. Then the next slide. Then also then we have an instance that mother is a force. Mother is also some people say that it's influenced. out the domestic point. It's not really sexual, but I really want to point out the caste discrimination. It's induced by your mother. Okay. Then, even the mother is saying that even the mother is saying that you won't understand, you are too young. And is that polluting you? He is also questioning, is that polluting you? So we have an instance of caste discrimination here. Then we'll head to school. So I'm saying school because it's not in our topic, but I'm just saying that he is also ill-treated in school. Because he was physically not as capable as boys. So he can't be playing boys sport. So he was, marginalized. And also ridiculed that you are not coming. Why are you a girl not? And he's also, not taken into the jaja. This kind of a thing. And also got many things like girl, boy, Ali, number 9. Also number 9, I can say a bit, that is in Bengal, it's depicted as number 6, chapka. Okay? It has similar connotation there. It has similar reference in Tamil. Okay. Next slide, please.
7 to 10 minutes. I hope you can wind up with that. Okay. Because actually you have 2 to 3 minutes left. So 5 minutes to 10 minutes.
In chapter 2 also we see that he is fearing to walk on the big roads, and he is again reminded that of his mother. He needs a mother's love. Okay. He's only in class 5, I guess. Yeah, he's 5, 6, and he's mother significance is there. He's a small bacha and he needs his mother to be around. But this role is subverting will breed. Then we have seen the school things. He can't share in the home also. Because the parents are gonna be like, yeah, so you are not playing with the boys, it's your fault only. And number 2, our Indian parents are not that invested. It's not their fault, it's the fault our society has trained them. We can also see that here he is failing class 10. And his father is like, okay, you failed. If you want to go to tuitions, I can provide you with it. They are supporting with the education, but they are not supporting with the sexual, sexual confusion.
And that's the root.
And that's the dropout. That's the root.
They are not solving the root of it.
Even they are embarrassed. Are you are the parents, you are gonna provide him root now. Anyways, also there's an instance he dresses as a girl and his mother is not disturbed by the idea that he is dressing. But why is a girl? His mother is disturbed there. So you see, I am not projecting this the domestic agents like father, mother, they are the root cause and all, but they should at least be a bit sensitive because it's a very sensitive age. We have passed this, okay, and I think they should be a little bit understanding about it, little bit patient about it, little bit.
I think a lot. Not little bit is too smaller words.
Yeah.
They should be quite understanding, and I think every parent has to first address this. When I tell this, I tell you as MC, I do not know how much as a parent I am ready to address this. There can be certain amounts of hypocrisy in the teacher, themselves who is offering this course. Alright. So this is a very crucial area, because parents are the one with whom you identify. Right? I'm like my mom or like my father. But when I do not get a model in the home, neither a father or mother, I want to be in a between space. And my parents are not ready to acknowledge it. Forget about the society. Alright.
There comes the same as that I'm doing something wrong. There comes the confusion.
And it's injected you are doing something wrong. Alright, what's the next?
On to the next chapter. I'll ask Kanchan to proceed.
We see him for the first time in contact with the Hijra community. That is when he goes up to the hill. After his tuitions, he met a few men who were lungi, and he saw very similarities between them and him.
First time in life.
He thought that there were people who were similar to him, who had similar gestures to him.
So now this adolescent was completely confused. Completely confused. Whether this is the only identity in this entire world. And imagine the sense of loneliness that this identity was facing. And for the first time, she, whatever is the confusion which Arunima was facing is basically not our language problem. It's what the identity is. So, for the first time, this identity realizes
That he felt
there can be a chance of transbonding.
spending time at the hill rather than being at home.
Yeah.
He used to lie to his mother that he will be studying after tuition, and he went to the hill to
So unhomely places became more homely, and home becomes unhomely.
There they help him teaching dances.
Yeah.
Also, they tell him more about their community and all. And he strangely feels way more home with them rather than being home.
ठीक है? Thank you everybody. Thank you so much for your cooperation.
After that, they take him to Amma's house, where there is constant fear of being reported as a girl boy to his home, which haunts her or him all the time. Doesn't matter where he or she is. She always has this constant fear that when she will go back to her home, she will get scolded by her parents or even beaten by her brothers.
One domestic violence abuse leads to the other domestic abuse, right? I think it starts in a very refined and subtle way, which are like to boka jhoka, and finally it's in terms of even beating up, thrashing up brutally, right? And
Just to prove their point that what you are doing is wrong.
Yes.
Typical Indian parents like beat their children.
Yes.
They
that's the only treatment that comes to their mind.
They think that's the only way we can teach our kids what's wrong and what's right. They always divide things as what's wrong and what's right. They never see what we want to do. In chapter 4, she goes to refugee in the Amma's house because
She comes back and the violence.
Where she stays for them for some time. While bathing, she gets mocked by the people who were passing by, calling him a girl boy. Girl boy, and like totally breaking down his emotional and
Confidence.
We also see him wearing t-shirt and lungi, but from his words we can tell he has a strong desire to wear sari. When he sees the other Hijra people, he has a strong desire to be like them, dress like them, have long hair, nails.
I think you're referring to Jamaat. Jamaat is somebody else's topic. It's about transbonding. So I think what you're talking about is the Jamaat. For the first time when the boy sees that it's recognized, their dressing is recognized. Okay, Jamaat, it was a very important ritual where trans becomes trans, and this is Jamaat where Revathi gets the name. Or officially Revathi.
Yeah, ma'am. The
But that's not domestic, yeah. So it's not Amma's house.
But she still has a constant fear from his house. So she goes back to her house to face his family. But instead, what she feared the most actually happens to her.
And even more than that.
Even more than that, her mother breaks down. Her brothers like threaten him, even beat him, trash him. Like from this we can tell
The body is full of bruises. And not only that, I think that is also one form of severe domestic abuse. That is, the brothers say that the boy will not be allowed to continue education. So if you are not able to continue education, means you will not be able to earn your livelihood. So which means this is also, another domestic abuse when you are not given favorable conditions to pursue education and later on employment. Right? Suffocating your education sources means also shutting down the ways of employment. So I would tell you all forms of domestic abuses are practiced here in this house except the sexual abuse, which will be practiced in other houses like that of Lakshmi.
Next slide.
I would like to conclude by explaining this posted. So, I have depicted the trans and especially the Hijra community of India. You can see this picture, a boy looking at the mirror and seeing himself as a girl. Yeah. Here I have depicted many trans women, and here I have written one quote that I didn't know that I behave like a girl. It felt natural for me to do so. I didn't know how to behave like a boy. It was like eating for me, just as I could not stop eating because someone asked me not to eat. It felt like I could not stop being a girl because others told me what not to do.
We are concluding the presentation, and I guess you are enjoying the poster and the presentation. Any doubts regarding the presentation? Any questions? No questions?
It was wonderful. I'll share my observation later on. Thank you. Even in your next 40 pages, by that 40 page, this identity will slowly realize that it is never possible for this person to be a woman. Right. That's why just after knowing the Amma for one day, the person feels I am more attached to this personality than my biological mother. So this realization comes to Revathi, who identifies themselves as Hijra or trans at a point that the body is trapped into an illusion. Illusion with each other. That someday I will get myself surgically transformed into a woman and I will be fine.
Also, he wanted to marry a guy.
Right, marry a boy. So that is, emotionally and sexually. So what this individual felt is that the sole aim of my life, I'll be fine if I transform into a man, into a woman. But as life goes, as this individual looks at the world and identifies with other trans characters, it clearly says that I cannot identify myself with my biological mother anymore. So the problem is, if we shift into this, again we go back to she. It means again we are fitting into the heteronormative society. And again we are getting back to these boxes. In order to be here in the society, you have to be either a he or a she. This is an illusion. The moment the trans people come out of this illusion, ekhane Kalki Subramaniam will go through, because most of them want to go for surgery. But surgery is very costly. Yeah. So each person, again I told you, this is a very, as real people in real world are, it's a very subjective response. Kalki Subramaniam was tracked by a quack doctor. 40 of them said that they are going to have a vagina of their own. And later they, after the surgery, when they could not move their body, they felt it was like something sack-like and it was not a vagina. 40 trans identities and 40 vagina tragedies that day. And then Kalki Subramaniam realizes that I don't want to be a woman anymore. I don't want to be sexually involved with any personality anymore. From now on, the only agenda in my life would be to save these personalities, to identify and be comfortable in their own bodies and with their personality. So if it is unique, then this position cannot be simply, what we are doing was just making it a reverse game. A trans man and a trans woman is not a woman, not a man. And accept and deal with it. If you can't, it's your problem. Let not them be transferred into something else, a he or a she. Alright? Let that in-betweenness be decided. And remember, this is not a lifetime decision. It's just like planning your next haircut about. Alright, I mean, actor is a problem, I want short hair. Actor is a problem, I want long hair. Actor is a problem, I want medium hair. Actor is a problem, I go completely bald. So now this can be so easy for us. This is just kind of going to a parlor, but for them, this is their body. This is what they are dealing with since their childhood, adolescence, adulthood, and till death and maybe beyond. So this is a stage which is number one. Like we all are here trans identities, we all will be having our own concept of an ideal body, right? So we will try to go with it. And also, suppose that particular idea about that ideal body could also be determined by a particular time and space, by my domestic space. When my parents had to maybe give money for that operation. Our 40s er ekta phase, our 50s er ekta phase, 60s er ekta phase. So it's not just fluid, but it's so fluid that it not only depends from one person to another person, but also in which phase that person is. What state of mind, peer pressure, so many things can determine that. So he or she, Arunima, that problem that you are facing, what to call? That you are blabbering. That blabbering, that grey space, that dark space is the reality of the identity. It is when you are groping for that pronoun. Understand? Thank you. It was again a very meaningful session. Domesticity is something that we all have experienced. Alright? And this is something that I hope becomes more special to you, because for the first time you try to think of trans people not somebody walking on the road and begging for money, but a human being who actually has had a domestic experience, who may not be homely with their domestic space, but always loves to at least consider that it's a home. And that's why I think autobiography is kind of a home to them. যে ঘরটা ওরা জীবনে পেল না, সেটা চেষ্টা করছে ফিকশনের মধ্যে দিয়ে পাওয়া। So that's why this special this anxiety which Anisha might not be having, which Anamika might not be having, which